Good morning, officially and out loud, right? Before I begin today's talk proper, and before I light that pride candle again, I'd like to share a small part of what I said at the Pride service Friday night, if you missed it. If you want the full reading, I can send it to you because I will not cry through saying those words again out loud. That was not cute. It was cute. It broke my heart a little bit because I talked about things that I've never said out loud before. And deep pain was revealed. So I'm going to say the latter part of what I said on Friday. When will we stop waving our pride flags? We won't. Until every queer person, every wonderfully different person, every divinely created, entirely beloved, perfect example of God's brilliant artistry in every way is embraced, respected, and treated equally without judgment, we must continue to wave our flags. Until every quietly queer person knows that they were never meant to hide who they are, we must continue to wave our flags. Until every queer person knows that they were never, ever meant to hide, we must wave them. Until every person in our beautiful rainbow community feels safe being who they are. Until the world begins to realize that normal has never had anything to do with sexual orientation, gender roles, or any other factor, because we are meant to be shining, sparkling, perfectly and extraordinarily unique, unrepeatable expressions of divine love. We must continue to wave our flags. Because one person who feels like their truth is something to hide is too many. My pride is our pride. My flag is our flag, and my flag will fly as a symbol of hope and a rallying cry until the day that each of us can be who we are and love who we love, unafraid and unashamed. May I have a moment of silence for those who have gone before and paved this beautiful rainbow path with their bricks of courage. For those still sitting quietly, unheard and hidden. We remember. Thank you. Okay, this week has been a whirlwind. That's a good word for it, right? It has been a wonderful dance of life in which oneness has revealed itself in many, many ways and through many people. And I will not be sharing all of that today out of respect for the privacy and autonomy of others, but there is one thing that I must tell you. I am going to proceed gently here, but please know that although some of what I'm about to say next may be difficult to hear, it is said with love. And I know that I am meant to explain this to you today, standing right up here. On Monday afternoon, I got a text from Reverend Paul's beautiful wife, Janice, letting me know that our beloved Frances had decided that she wanted to transition. Anyone who knows Frances is keenly aware that she does exactly what she wants, when she wants, and she smiles the whole time. So I immediately headed over to the hospital to sit with them. And around 10 p.m., she made her transition with 3 people who truly love her by her side. She entered into her new journey so peacefully and quietly and in the arms of love. Frances, who has struggled for many, many years to lug around an uncooperative, painful body through all of her many adventures, is finally happy and free. And although we will miss her physical presence, we find comfort in the knowing that she is now doing exactly as she pleases, joyfully and free from any constraints, and I'm certain she's up to all kinds of wonderful, magical stuff. So be on the lookout for random puzzle pieces, the errant socks turning up in unexpected places, feathers in your path, and crows, whether they're flying by or simply regarding you with a wise eye. She believed in signs and will no doubt continue to give us those from now on. Tell me when she leaves one in your path. I'm curious to know how she shows up for you. Yesterday, at a wedding I performed, at the end of a wedding, the bridal party, everybody goes that way, I go this way. And I open the doors because they come around for photos. And as I came through, a peacock left his feather right on the mat outside that door, and he looked intently at me as he did it. I know who was behind that. The couple I gave it to doesn't know, but I do. Okay, now we're back on track. So this thing I keep talking about, oneness, this sacred symbol we've been exploring, is not simply a symbol. It is the greatest, most fundamental truth that I can offer you. It's one I know with absolute certainty as a fact, just as I know that Frances is still up to mischief. You have no way of knowing whether I stand up here reciting a script that someone else wrote, or telling stories I think sound good, or sort of ministerial, or speaking the truth of the ages. But you do have a choice. I'm not asking you to choose to believe or not to believe. I am asking you to choose to learn for yourself what is true. Spend time here with me, Reverend Paul, or with those who already spend time with us. You'll find that things become clearer and clearer as you do. If you truly want to know what is true, you must explore all that is available for you here. When and how can you do this? Look at your insert. Go to our website. Some of our most powerful conversations, and some of you are going to nod a lot right now, they happen during our Tuesday meetings of A Course in Miracles and our Wednesday night discussion services. We dig real deep. And I know that this sounds like a plug for business, but it's not. It is an invitation to develop your own relationship with the truth which feeds your soul and makes you feel loved. Whatever that is for you is something only you can reveal. Yes, there is universal truth, and it is very simple on its surface. But to know it means exploration, fearless and enthusiastic exploration. If I could have one wish come true, it would be to allow the world to see that all is truly one. Because once you see it, there's no conflict, ever. Imagine for a moment a world where every person looks at every other person and sees only love wearing a different face. No varying shades of love, no varying degrees of love, only love in all sorts of beautiful shapes. What would there be to fight over, to fight for? There could be no more or less powerful, important, intelligent, nor any other measure of success or failure. We could see that everything is always perfect. Yes, I understand that when you contextualize that with the news or current events in your lives or the lives of those around you, calling everything perfect may make you scoff, right? That's a word you don't hear every day. But consider for a moment that perhaps your viewpoint of what is and isn't perfect is skewed by judgment based on the actions of those who also have skewed judgment based on those. You see where I'm going with that, right? It just keeps going. The cycle perpetuates. A room full of people who are each independently judging everything happening means that only one who knows what is really happening is the one who does not judge. The one who accepts and embraces everything which comes, including the judgment, and lets go with gratitude everything which goes. Only that one is here fully aware and sees clearly. Let me explain this a little differently. A man, let's simply call this person the traveler. Okay? Because if we get mired in names, we'll lose track of who he is and who everybody else is. So this traveler has no destination in mind. They simply want to explore the world. And for whatever reason, in my mind, these tales always seem to take place in some shire somewhere, and there's only like carts and horses. I don't know why. This is the picture that happens in my head. So this traveler has been walking for many years, stopping every now and then to experience the places that they found themselves in. And one day, the path takes him to a loud scene. There's a fountain in the center of this village, and the traveler sees a crowd of people. Voices are shouting and fingers are pointing. What's going on? The traveler asks the first woman they encounter. The old woman pointed to a young man sitting quietly on the edge of a fountain. That stranger insulted the baker. The baker shouted, "That's not true. The stranger stole from me." The blacksmith interrupted. No, he wasn't stealing. He was protecting someone. He's a hero. A merchant shook his head. You've all missed it. He's no hero. He's dangerous. I mean, look at him. Soon, everyone is talking at once, and the traveler listened carefully. One person was angry. One was frightened. One was certain. One was offended. One was even inflating. Each person described the young man differently. After a while, the traveler approached the young man and sat beside him. The young man smiled. Would you like to know what happened? He said. Very much, said the traveler. The young man pointed around the square. The baker saw me through his anger. The merchant saw me through his fear. The blacksmith saw me through his loyalty. The old woman saw me through her concern. And what did you do? Asked the traveler. The young man laughed softly. I sat by the fountain. The traveler looked around the square again. The crowd was still arguing, and some were becoming more convinced, and some were becoming more upset, and some were gathering supporters, yet none of them had actually seen what had happened. They had been watching the young stranger through their eyes, projecting their beliefs upon him. The traveler sat quietly for a long time, and then they said, So no one knows what happened? The young man shook his head. One person does. Who? Asked the traveler. The one who sought the truth. Do you see? The traveler is not wiser than the villagers or more spiritual or enlightened. The traveler simply seeks the truth. And the truth does not rest on ideas or personalities. It stands patiently waiting for one seeker to stop listening to opinions and start wondering if there's something bigger. And that, if you recall, was my earlier invitation. That little parable doesn't speak to oneness directly, but it certainly helps you learn how to act in the world, right? To stop listening to the noise and seek what is still and quiet beneath it. But how do you do that? Okay, let's start with baby steps, okay? Let's begin by choosing to set aside just 10 seconds. That's not a lot, right? It's doable. 3 times a day. 30 seconds of your whole day. We can do this. Ask, what is actually happening right now? And then look around and simply see. Observe it. Don't judge, just allow it to be what it is. This practice attunes you to gradually filter out the noise and see the constraints which are true from all perspectives. All the villagers, had they stopped for 10 seconds, would have simply seen a young man they'd never met before sitting by a fountain. The first 2 talks in this series have been gentle on purpose. We've been wading in and getting our feet wet and finding our footing. And today I want to go a little deeper. So if you're willing, take a deep breath with me and open your hands so we can swim out a little, okay? Just be with this. We have all heard the epistles of the Apostle Paul. That's a fun sentence to say, isn't it? The epistles of the apostle. Epistle, that's Bible for the letters he wrote. Just be with this, okay? Those letters he wrote in the New Testament, and we've heard how he equates oneness with a body which has many parts. Something came to me the other night during ACIM, and I want to see if it clicks for some of you. Everyone here has had goosebumps, right? Yeah? Those little bumps that you get on your skin when all the hairs stand up and you get all tingly, weird feeling. Okay, so imagine God as a body. The only body ever, anywhere. Okay, just one lone everythingness. If that one body got goosebumps and God was feeling really imaginative, perhaps it would start paying attention to individual bumps, one at a time. Be like, this one right here, this is Lana. She's from the magical land of Hawaii, and she loves basket weaving, long walks on the shore, and racing toy yachts in her teeny tiny bathtub. Okay, and this one over here, this is Lawrence, you see? She's from the fabled land of Milwaukee. Yes, she. And she feels like she has to wear suits and ties at work during the day, but when she's home, she can finally put on her favorite muumuu, lovingly made by Lana, while her little boat zip around the tub, and that's when Lawrence feels right. And over here, this one is Zachariah down here. Zachariah is a minister by day, but he's on a roller derby team by night, where he goes by the name of Shirley Sheila, because it's a women's team and he's kind of flying under the radar. And he's really, really afraid of earthworms and also wooden clogs. Okay? This one right here, this is Naomi. And since this particular goosebump has a really dark, beautiful hair growing through it, we'll say that she's special, so that all the others will notice her, but we won't tell her. That way everyone's always staring at her, but she never quite understands why. and on and on. God declares these individual goosebumps, different people, different places, different things. And God creates all sorts of beautiful little details. And all of those imaginary goosebump people, places, and things start to believe they exist as the stories. Because God's imagination is very, very, very powerful. And one day, Lana looks around and thinks, she notices Lawrence, and she notices Zachariah, and she notices all of the other goosebumps, and suddenly she becomes very concerned. What if Lawrence is prettier than me? What if Zachariah is faster on his wheels than my boats are in my tub? What if my basket weaving isn't as good as Lawrence's Moo collection? What if God likes that goosebump more than me? And before long, all the goosebumps are comparing themselves. They're competing and arguing and trying to become better goosebumps, trying to become more important goosebumps, trying to become the best goosebump. And one day, Lana asks a very strange question. She's, wait a minute. Has anyone ever seen where we're not connected? It seems like no matter what we do, we're all standing on the same stuff. Even when the wind blows and I feel myself moving, I'm still here on this. Because every goosebump appears separate, and they're really all very, very different after God's wonderfully colorful imaginings. But none of them has actually found a border between itself and the skin beneath it. And all this, even though this sounds way, way, way out there to Lana, she feels something interesting when she hears this. So she starts spending all of her time trying to become a better goosebump. She reads books, and she attends workshops, and she gets certified in all sorts of wonderful arts, and she wins awards, and she becomes Goosebump of the Month 6 years in a row. That is an awfully long duration. And finally, exhausted, she says, I just want to know who I really am. Why am I here? So she stops comparing. She stops competing and stops trying to become. And for the first time, she looks down with silent ears and opened eyes. And she discovers that she has spent her entire life not only sitting on God, but as a part of God. You beautifully storied, vulnerable, doubting goosebumps, people, you are a part of God. Try as you might, you cannot escape this universe. Nothing here ever truly appears or disappears. It all just changes form, takes on a new name, a new function, a new self-definition. And you would not be if not for the person sitting next to you. The person on TV, the person sleeping on the bench, the person doing the things that you do not like. They are all literally a part of you. Take some time this week to reflect on this idea. I know that it's a lot. I'm just asking you to be with it. So when you step out of the heat, which, let's face it, has been intimidating, when you step out and into some blissfully cool air-conditioned room and you feel those tingles come up, remember Lana and Lawrence and Shirley, Sheila, and Naomi, and also remember that you are just like them. You are a beautiful little story in the body of God. Amen.